Hello and welcome to an episode of Casual Friday. I'm here with the Duck. As always, the show is brought to you by Woo. Links available in the description below. Don, the boomers are buying everything except spot BTC. I mean, they're doing an okay job there, but if you look at the S&P 500 all-time high, I still don't know if this is Biden's economy or Trump's economy. Like, I kind of got lost in the back and forth and all the rebranding. NASDAQ as well, Coin, Robinhood. I mean, is Tesla bouncing too? If that,
No,
it's okay.
a little bit.
A little bit. But like the boomers are the boomers are back, basically. I mean, even MicroStrategy is up today. But narratively, there's a bit of frustration, I think, going on in crypto circles, understandably, because it's alt season, but it's really in equities. And not as much in the crypto world. I mean, the 4-hour chart of the S&P is objectively hilarious. And then the daily, pretty much when Trump told you to buy, it was the bottom. I think that's actually very presidential.
I mean, it's like someone that kidnaps someone and lets them, like, it's like, these guys are going to be free, and then he lets them go. And it's like, I'm taking credit for this one.
That's
like,
true.
Doesn't really make much sense.
But I love it. It's like people in traditional circles, I'm sure you've heard, like, don't fade the Fed. And the idea there is that, the Federal Reserve is, like, very powerful and influential in setting not prices, but just in terms of impacting the market. But then it's like, don't fade the president of the United States either.
Yeah,
it's
don't fade the kidnapper. Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't really subtle either. It wasn't like, oh, I believe the economy is fine and business will do well. He's like, no, buy, basically. And I mean, good for people that copy traded the president. Is the token up? Have you paid any attention there?
Token's horrendously down.
Oh yeah, okay. But I mean, the S&P 500 is, as we know, the equities are the economy, right? So if equities are doing well, that means the economy is doing well.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Trump token is actually almost at all-time low still.
Well, that's not his fault. Anyway, also, like BTC, let's start there. Actually, there's a bunch of like traditional market stuff going on. Like, I'm sure you saw there was some like economic data that wasn't so great, but then S&P is like an all-time high. Have fun squaring that circle. But in any case, there was a massive fake out on BTC, and it was hilarious because I finally did a Monday video, and I was like, hey guys, like, we closed below the weekly, and like, made a big song and dance about how these weekly failed breakout patterns are rare but important, and how it's high strike rate, and the weekly time frame isn't one for like chop and fake out signals. And guess what? It just went up.
Yeah,
fucking classic. It just absolutely sent.
I mean, to give you some credit, I mean, we're kind of like in a weird fucking spot where headlines matter more than anything else, and then like it's just a fucking scam market right now. And if there's war with Iran, and then the next day there's not, and the chart's at support, and the next day it's below, and then the next day there's the war with Iran is already over. It's like, okay, like, how do you square that with TA? That's why I always say, like, the TA stuff works quite nicely, especially when it's zoomed out. But if the headline risk is this high as it is right now, like, I wouldn't follow it too strictly.
I agree, but I thought the weekly at least would behave.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I 100% get it. I actually also made a tweet, and I was like, hey, we broke this weekly. Look at the left. We've done this before.
Yeah.
You would be excused to be bearish. I'm simply too lazy to be. So you guys have some fun, but I mean, here's an excuse to be bearish, but I'm just not gonna, because I'm washed up lazy, and that worked out quite well for me.
That was very timely. I mean, in my paltry defense, my argument at the time was like, don't chase the short side, because we just like S&P all these lows, we hit the mid-range, yada yada, don't bother, just wait for the weekly. And the weekly was just like, fuck you, basically, and walked up. But I mean, there was no resistance at that level whatsoever. So I mean, I'm also a washed up lazy piece of shit, so I didn't fade it or take the other side of it. But here we are now, and there was also this like really awkward grind up. Did you see that? Like on the hourly or the 4-hour, like post 104k, it was just like this weird diagonal accumulation. Anyway, I mean, listen, if the weekly time frame of all time frames is being chopped around now. What useful TA-based contributions do you think are available for the purposes of this show? Is it one of those things where, look, the weekly closed below and then closed back above?
Don't ask questions you
failure.
don't want answers to. Just don't ask questions
I know,
you don't want
man.
the answer to.
But like, if you're in a vacuum, that would be the pure technical interpretation, right? Like pending the weekly close, you'd say, look, it's a failed breakdown. It's a failed breakout, failed breakdown. So it's a real breakout, right? Like, is that how the maths works?
I think given, and this is how I treat these kind of headline things. It's like the headline drove it below support.
Okay.
The undoing of the headline drove it back up to support. So for me, all that price action just doesn't really exist.
Fantastic. It's not
so
real.
nothing's changed. So basically, we are still in the week of the 9th of June if we close here.
Okay.
As in, like, we're just sitting on support still. And then the only thing that has changed for me is that if we actually lose it again now,
that time will matter.
One, it's just a scam market. But two, it would matter a little bit more to me.
Okay.
Just because then it would actually be a real one, unless it's a headline thing again. Then I'll this is literally
that's so funny.
The caveat for all of these. Like, if it's a bullshit headline produced by Team Trump, basically, I will ignore it. If it is not a bullshit headline, I will take it serious. And I think that's kind of the way to go this entire admin. Usually you don't really get that much headline news in any kind of like 4-year time span. In this one, we've had like more than in the last 10 years combined, it feels like. So it's kind of like you just gotta when it's clearly bullshit, you just gotta roll with the punches.
I mean, it sounds like you're coping because look, lots of trade deals being struck. I mean, there aren't, but we don't talk about trade anymore. Okay, trade is irrelevant. Tariffs are a washed-up narrative. Like, no one gives a shit anymore.
I mean, that's why we're not cutting. That's why. Like, Europe's been cutting. America has not.
Not yet. We just need to replace the corrupt Jerome Powell, like famously partisan and corrupt. Once we get rid of him, S&P is already at an all-time high. Cut rates. I mean, Iran disabled with some really precise bombs. Like, I'm tired of winning. I don't know where your Trump derangement syndrome comes from. There's just so much winning. You were saying how tariffs are a cell phone. S&P is an all-time high now. We made trade deals with massive economies like the UK, a famously successful country, a very serious country. So tariffs out the window. S&P all-time high. Middle East just good old bomb, and then peace immediately after. I mean, what's not to like? Why are you so confrontational about?
I'm not being confrontational at all. Just keep pushing the market up, fraudulent or not, doesn't really matter.
Perfect.
Have you seen the Euro USD chart by chance?
Well, I saw the dollar index, but Euro USD, I mean, that's a chart.
It's a chart, dude. Like, this is the crazy part when you look at like Bitcoin. Like, from the perspective of someone that isn't in the US, but also just generally, like, what people have to realize is that, like, a lot of these things are priced against the dollar, and the dollar is just basically in free fall right now.
The denominator is worthless.
Like, legit, this is one of the biggest dollar drops that we've had in like a long time in this short amount of time. Now, obviously, when you look at the dollar index, it was also kind of like, it's a little bit of cope saying that, just because the dollar just went up for so long, right? Like, it went up basically since 2008, went up by like 60%, and is now down like 16. So you could argue like, hey, but this is like real, like, it's quite a big move in relative terms.
I mean, just to clarify, it's not like the dollar's going down. It's just other currencies are going up, right?
Who said that again? I don't remember.
I think it was Scott, right? From the good old admin.
Yeah, so good. Anyway, so basically, like, our cryptocurrency coins, whatever, are priced against the dollar. So if they don't move, you're actually kind of losing money right now, because the dollar is weak against most other currencies. And then if you actually check like the coins against another currency, you will see that it looks actually much worse. So I don't know what to make of that yet. It's just it feels like stuff is going up like crazily, but it's also in part at least due to just the dollar going down aggressively. Just wanted to mention that.
No, I think that's fair. Like BTC Euro is a chart, you know. If
Like
you
that
want to
looks
get
awful.
exotic with it, the market feels in a weird spot because in general, I don't know how you feel about this. There are a bunch of like concurrent narratives at the moment, right? It's like there's the crypto native narratives, if you will, and not even narratives, just like this whole like BTC corporate treasury strategy thing. That's actually that continues to accelerate. You know,
it's actually really bullish. Yeah, I think short term.
Yeah, I mean that's still going very strongly.
And it keeps getting more trendy, I think.
Yes.
Which like this the whole flywheel thing again.
Yeah, literally, it's the copycats are starting to pile in.
Yeah.
You know, with like an average entry of like 110K, stuff like that, like insane headlines.
Like imagine that,
yeah,
like
travel back in time and tell someone that, like,
yeah, there's companies starting to pile into Bitcoin, sometimes buying shit with debt at 110K. Like the fuck?
yeah,
That's
no,
insane.
exactly. So like, there's that part which is on the, I guess, the demand side, right? It's like the crypto native corporate Bitcoin strategy stuff. Then I feel like macro correlation world is still intact. Be that via headline watching or lead lag relationship with both indices and like crypto specific equities, which is its own sub narrative, like coins setting an all-time high and, you know, people frustrated that they're holding shit coins. And it's like there is an alt season, but it's going on in equities, like normal equities and some crypto stocks as well. That's another point of tension. Then there's like I feel like the big push pull at the moment, you can correct me if you think otherwise, but it's essentially like who's gonna fold first? Is it all these corporate strategy type deployers just piling in and the market basically absorbing them, or is it the absorbers rolling over and then all these buys start having a material market impact? Like, to me, that's the thing I keep coming back to. And you know, obviously in between that gets muddied and sullied and soiled by all the macro shit, like a headline comes out and some Trump thing, S&P thing, Iran thing, oil spike, whatever. Like that noise is also like pretty visible in the chart. But I feel like ultimately the big tension during this, like, because look, this has been like a 2-month range now, right? Whether you like it or not. Looking at the daily, looking at the weekly, the market's pretty balanced and there's no acceptance through either side of the range. And I feel like this is like the David versus Goliath, or the big battle here is the aggressive buying by these corporate strategies versus the old heads just fucking dumping into them, you know? And it's like, how does this, you know, who wins basically, and how do you start to determine who wins? Do you think that's the correct way of viewing this range, or is other forces, greater forces at play here?
No, I agree. Like that's kind of how to look at it, and I think I think the buyers are probably gonna win. Whenever you get these kind of like movements, unless anything drastic, and this is just fucking annoying to say every time, but I think it is very important. It's the same thing with like the headline risk. If something drastically changes on the macro side of things, you're gonna have to adapt to that pretty quickly. But unless something drastically changes, I think the bias is just gonna take control. Very often, like when you have this kind of like force buying sort of thing, like even if they're going to lose, they're going to be profit for a little bit, which basically means I think there's a really good chance we're going to break above 110 and then maybe run to like 140 on Bitcoin or something, 150, like something in that range. And then if it's bearish, it's going to nuke catastrophically from there. And if it's not bearish, maybe we go even higher. But I'd be very, very shocked if this new trend doesn't lead to kind of like us breaking out. And then crypto is the industry that loves to take advantage of people the most. And I think you can bait in so many idiotic companies and people into buying like crypto into their balance sheets, and that whole meta hasn't even started yet. Like it feels like it's overdone because we've heard so much of MicroStrategy and all of those early copycats, but realistically, it's not even started yet, and I think that's gonna get bigger. And I think the crypto industry will take advantage of it. So I think that's even if it plays out to the downside soonish, as in like the next 6 months, unless something macro changes, I think it's just going to be up.
How do you think? What do you think is the most appropriate method for? Well, two things: like detecting it that this side is gonna win, and then taking advantage of it. Because we've spoken on this show before how like if there's good evidence of a completely price insensitive market participant, right, who's just like very aggressive and either buying or selling in size, your first thing shouldn't be, oh, when this runs out, it's going to be really bad. Your first instinct should be, how do I line up with this person if there's enough juice left to squeeze, right?
Yeah.
So applying that to this framework, I mean, how do you take it? How do you know? Yeah, I mean, how do you measure that they're going to win, the aggressive side, especially given this range? And then how do you take advantage of it? Is it as simple as just fucking buy the thing and then add on dips, assuming that the whole thing is going to get gobbled up? Is it a breakout trade? Is it something more nuanced? Like, how does one take advantage of this?
There's a lot of ways. My way has just been like basically not just be lazy with all of it. Yeah.
Right.
As in, like, I get bearish signals and I just kind of ignore them because I feel like I have better read on it by just looking at what's actually happening instead of like using the TA right now, because the TA is very heavily influenced by headlines. Like that's one way, just holding the thing. Yeah. And then like the breakout stuff is dangerous because and I suspect, and I have no evidence of this. There's a lot of people that claim they have evidence of this, but I don't know any. Is basically that like the Trump team and insiders are taking advantage of this kind of intraday volatility. At least some insiders are, and which basically means the moment you want to breakout trade, you're gonna get dropped like a news bomb on your head on a Friday, something that we've seen happen over and over and over again, or like a breakdown, same story, where it's basically you're at the mercy of someone that has one, much more power, and two, can completely control at least the short-term narrative, which is really annoying, right? But it's a nice position to be in if you want to take advantage of the market. So like I'd be careful with that. You got to be really nimble on that front. So like to me, like most of the ways to trade this are actually like much worse now with all the insider trading going on. Yeah, so it's just kind of like look at the bigger picture is my best bet. And that's why I've been so lazy and why I've been so like, okay, whatever happens. I just generally think the most probabilistic kind of move is up, and that's why I've been hands off.
I mean, you've also found a way to answer every single question with a critique of Trump. You know, that's
Yeah, I mean,
pretty impressive.
I mean, like that's the thing, right? Like I generally think that the market is just like headlines now, and the only reason why that is because of the erratic kind of like policy making of Trump. And I mean, you can say that's a good or bad thing, right? Like I like if you're a Trump fan and you're like, oh fuck this dude, like I mean, if he's doing stuff that you like, fair enough, right? Like just take it as a positive then. For me, like this kind of like erratic behavior where you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, it kind of ruins markets. Because like I said, it's so easy for insiders to take advantage of this. But if you also, like, some people really like that kind of environment, right? They're really good at reading what insiders are doing and then just taking advantage of their coattails also works. But yeah, for me, this is the worst kind of trading environment possible, because you basically have to be locked in on a news feed 24/7, and that is something that I've never really enjoyed. I like it when there's like one big news event like every other month, and then you can judge whether the market is strong or not based on the reaction of the market to it. Now we have like one big news event every other day, and the reaction or non-reaction doesn't really mean anything because everyone is just kind of tired of it all. And that's just, for me personally, for trading DonAlt is the worst. And then my personal opinion is obviously, like I've shared that like many times, I'm also not the biggest fan of just generally people taking advantage of the market. It might feel like there's no one that gets harmed, right? But at the end of the day, everyone like pays a little bit of that. Like everyone that trades, even if you're not personally losing money, there's a bunch of market participants that are paying for this, for the insiders to make money, and I don't think that's a good thing.
It's so altruistic for you to think about them, Don.
I mean, they need to have their money so they can give it to me.
It's rotate to ETH.
Like if
you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna like, why give the money to insiders? Give it to me.
Yes, I mean that's yeah. I would say it's in good hands, but I know better than that. Yeah, I don't know. Like this, there's just a bunch of shit going on, and the price action sucks. That's like my actual summary at the moment.
Yeah.
It's like price action sucks. It's kind of going sideways. There's seemingly a price insensitive buyer in the books from this global corporate strategy FOMO eating up dips. You should generally try to align with them. But I think the hardest part is going to sort of tell when. I mean, look, even to this point, their market impact hasn't been that fucking great. Because if you think about even in this entire consolidation, like looking at this daily range, how many announcements there have been of this strategy, and how many of them have actually just gone and bought Bitcoin, right? Like it's one thing if they just announce like, hey, we're launching this strategy and we're going to raise some debt, and then maybe we'll go buy some BTC. I mean, the market can front run that, but if the physical BTC isn't being lifted from the books, you could argue, oh, well, the demand hasn't really hit yet. But we've had so many instances during this consolidation that these fuckers have actually just gone and bought the coins, you know?
Yeah,
and then they announced that they bought the coins. And it's like, well, the market hasn't moved. And it's like all these 2021 wallets and OGs and old heads selling into them. And that's...
Chads. I gotta say,
chads.
I love it. I mean, everyone talked about selling to the institutions,
dumping on Wall Street. Yeah. These are the guys doing it. 100%.
Like legit, they're just like, there's just like a bunch of like giga rich people that started in like God knows when, like 20 years ago. It feels like they're just with a smile on their face dumping on the Wall Street guys, which is really fucking like, that's cool
for once.
Like I dig it, but please stop it so we can go up, so we then can dump on them before the market implodes. That'd be nicer.
Yeah,
that'd be even more fun, like making them buy our bags then selling. But then again, like if you hold a lot, you have to start selling, even not at the top, right? People don't really understand, like if you have a large amount of something, like you have to sell before the top, because otherwise you don't get to sell. Like at the top, there's usually not enough in the liquidity for you to sell. And then you have to chase down and...
Well, you make the top and it's really ugly.
yeah, but you have to make a really ugly top, basically.
Yeah.
And then liquidity is oftentimes not so good. So, I mean, I dig it. Just, I mean, like I said, I don't think it's gonna work in making the top.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just fun. I like it. I'm a big fan. I understand.
You get it, yeah. I mean, my thoughts around this are so clumsy because, as you mentioned, the TA's kind of gone out the fucking window. Like, I'm just gonna make a bullet point list, right? And let me know if I'm missing anything. So one is like summer range brackets dog shit, right?
Yeah.
That's number one.
We haven't even talked about that.
Yes, like seasonality, summer, just in general.
Summer's
like,
generally
Europe
shit.
Has no AC and is burning alive. You know? BTC Corpo strategy, FOMO. That's also going on. Alt season, except not in our coins, and brackets indices, stocks, some crypto names. I mean, what else? Like Iran, geopolitics, Middle East. Number 5 is like Trump-specific headlines, right?
Yeah.
Trump-specific headlines. Number 6 is like Fed, Powell, Shadow Fed. Have you seen that? That's been a fun one, like a Shadow Federal Reserve type of thing. What am I missing? I mean, old heads, dumping, spot, absorbing, pomp.
I mean, that's the best thing ever. It's just really so good.
But yeah, I mean, I've got 7 things here. Summer range, BTC corporate strategy FOMO, alt season, except not in altcoins, indices, stocks, some crypto names, Iran, geopolitics, Middle East, Trump-specific headlines, Fed, Powell, shadow Fed, old heads dumping spot, absorbing pomp. And I guess oil goes into number 4, and then correlation with S&P, NASDAQ setting all-time high goes into number 3. So like this is like technically a diluted version of just like 7 random things going on at the moment, like all these kind of forces pushing and pulling the market at the like right now, you know, and that's I just don't have super strong views. I know that's super boring and not very helpful, but I was hoping that the weekly time frame would give some clarity. It's done the fucking opposite. Yeah. You know what's gonna happen now, right? Like I think if I take the weekly time frame too literally, and I'm like, oh look, the weekly should have broken down, but it didn't. But that's bullish, and then it's just gonna fucking chop back down if some other headline comes out. So then the weekly went from like bullish breakout, bearish failed breakout, bullish failed breakout failure, and then it's literally just going to be like the 60k range again. Do you remember that? Like that was so funny because there were like 16 fucking deviations, and that just basically went on for a year. I mean, a half year or however long it was miserable. That's what it was. But it was the same thing there when you try to read too heavily into the TA side of things. And like breakout, failed breakout failure, failed breakout failure, and then it's like all your money's gone on attempt number 4. There's nothing left if you take every single signal. So like I don't know. I think I would prefer to trade the scenario of summer range gets resolved by these corporate copycats just sizing up and being able to raise debt pretty easily, and then they just blow the lid off this thing, right? Like a real all-time high break, and then whatever rally that takes us to, maybe it's 200k, 150, whatever absurd amount, I'd want to ride that, but then I'm gonna assume it's gonna go down like 80% from wherever it tops out, you know? Like from a trading narrative setup, like synchronicity perspective, that's what I would love to see. You know, there's a bit of a summer lull, bit of slowdown, bit of churn. The old heads are dumping into the corporate strategy buyers, but then it's just too much to handle, and the lid gets fucking blown off this thing. It rips everyone's face off, and then we're like, okay, well, this is just the rally before Bitcoin just dies again and 99% of these copycats eat shit, but let's ride the rally and get a real all-time high break for once. I would prefer that, because the alternative is shit, right? The alternative is either a long range or it's basically your doom a fractal from 2021, where the all-time high break does fuck all, fails to break out, and then, I mean, then a bunch of fraud happens and people die, basically. So I prefer the one where we go up.
Me too. I generally think basically that the implosion wouldn't be big enough yet, and that just isn't in the style of crypto.
Okay.
Like
I need a bigger bubble.
We need to go up a little bit more to make the implosion even more dramatic. I think if the implosion happens now, it's not gonna be making history, which is a little bit boring, which doesn't sound like crypto at all. That's kind of like on a serious note, that's kind of like how it's always worked. Like you think about something extreme and then you make it a little bit more extreme, and that's probably how it's going to end up. That's why I'm kind of like, I think this is gonna bubble up. It's gonna get more fraudulent. It's gonna get dumber. People are gonna kind of like be abusing this to the max, and then it's gonna go down 80%, destroy lives, be miserable for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years maybe, and then maybe gets picked up again or not. That's kind of how I see this going, which would mean fun now, pain later. If we got the implosion now, that would mean basically it sucks now, and then maybe we get another shot in a couple of years. But that sounds boring. I'd rather have it now. Like that's much more fun.
Yeah, that would give a real kind of bubble feeling, you know. But
and we're owed one. Every single cycle we need to get like
that's true.
we need to get fraudulent kind of behavior on that kind of level.
I mean,
we haven't seen it this cycle. Not enough.
It's brewing, you know. Like I feel like again, Casual Friday marginally ahead of the curve, calling this as the thing, you know, and like literally a matter of weeks. It's over the last like 2-3 weeks. It's just to give you context. Lingerie Fighting Championships announces Bitcoin strategy in advance of first UK shows. Like this is
Dude, we're so fucked. Like, we're so fucked. Like, this is, and this, the funny thing is, like, this is either top behavior, right? Like, this has, like, how it's been historically. Like, that's kind of top behavior.
Or the start of the bubble, right?
Start of the bubble. But the good thing is, like, the good thing for bears is that the start of the bubble is, like, usually go below where the start of the bubble was, even if it bubbles at the end of it, like when it's
true,
when
it's
it
true.
pops. So, like, as a bear, you're probably going to see prices quite a bit below 107K again. But also, like, if this bubbles the way it can, and I think it'd just be boring if it didn't, you probably get liquidated before. But
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course. Yeah, you don't
you don't
make
make
it back with
it.
any money.
You don't make it. Yeah.
They need one of us in the carnage, you know. Yeah, okay. So I guess we've actually just come full circle to the narrative dichotomy we discussed earlier, that it's basically corporate credit bubble season, and the bubble roadmap is that the summer chop ends with these old heads getting tired of selling, that supply gets cleared, and the thing fucking skyrockets to some absurd number, and then we all die because what the fuck is going on? This is just like the most explicit debt-based copycat bubble ever, you know? And then, as mentioned, the alternative is that the old heads win, and there's too much paper Bitcoin. You heard that one.
Yeah.
There's too much paper BTC, and we fucking roll over or whatever else. I didn't really know how to, like, the question I had, you know, that I asked you earlier, which was, how would one get an indication of which side is winning? And I just think that's becoming increasingly tricky if the TA goes to total shit. Maybe if there was maybe if the Middle East were normal, which historically is not a very good bet. I think
that's not how it works there.
Yeah, dude, I know. I think if it were, listen, if we had other, like, less headline risk in general, I think it'd be easier to determine chart-wise who's winning.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're in this push and pull. Like, also notice, like, the derivatives, and I think this is like the clearest point when it comes to these two forces pushing and pulling the most. How much derivatives data do you see on a day-to-day basis? Like, here's the funding rate and open interest, and here are the quarterly futures basis annualized. Like, no one gives a shit anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think quarterlies are like 4% annualized, 5%. Like, there's just like no leverage in the system, like, comparatively. Yeah, I mean, it's like 4% on Binance. That's a joke, right? Like, it's an actual joke. Now, obviously, part of that is the industry is more efficient at arbing that difference between spot and futures, of course. But still, when things get really frothy, that shit gets out of whack, and you'll notice it. Like, it still spikes significantly before it gets swatted back down. But what we have instead, so the derivative side is not what's driving this. You have spot buyers in the form of these corporate companies coming in and just lifting the book, but then you also have spot sellers from the old heads coming in and dumping on them. So someone looking at the derivatives data, and we've spoken about this dynamic before, they're like, oh my god, like, BTC looks so good, there's like no leverage here, so we should go up. It's like, no shit, there's no leverage, just because the spot market is pushing this thing around, you know? That's where this beef is being settled, essentially. So I think in a normal world where headlines, like, headlines would be less insane, I think you could look at a chart and say, okay, well, the weekly's holding, so I'm just going to assume it's going to send. Oh, the weekly failed. I'm not so sure. I'm going to give it a chance later. But the problem is that's also now being masked by all these fucking headlines unrelated to the corporate Ponzi. So, like, good fucking luck. I think you just have to choose, you know? You kind of just have to bet and be like, fuck TA, fuck geopolitics, don't give a shit about Trump and the presidency. I think the bubble's got further to go on the corporate Ponzi. I'm just gonna be exposed, and if I lose money, whatever, I lose money. You know? Like, or you take the other side and say, until it makes a new all-time high, the entire market's fraudulent, and I'm ready to eat like a 20% slippage sandwich if it all goes wrong. Godspeed. You know? Like, I really think it's getting to a point where you have to take that type of bet, where you're willing to be less interventionist day to day or even week to week, and just to eat shit if you're wrong. Am I insane? Like, I haven't even articulated that super well. I'm fucking stumbling over my words because this is like very not straightforward if you're used to a normal kind of elegant trading framework of like monthly, weekly, daily, invalidation, whatever. Like it's not working. Certainly not in this summer range. What do you think? Rescue me from this fucking monologue, please.
No, I 100% agree. Basically, pick your side, and then, I mean, you're gonna get. I mean, if you're wrong, you're gonna get shit on, but if you're right, it's gonna be fun. So I think that's the like this legit.
That's the
like
show. Yeah,
like legit. Like as dumb as that sounds, I think that's just how you have to go now. And yeah, we'll. The cool thing is, no matter what happens, like the denominator is kind of worthless. Right. So at least you have that on your side if you're bullish, right? Like you're betting with something that's a little bit fraudulent itself. So if there's a little bit of fraud happening, I mean, on the other side it's the dollar. So there you go. And then just pick your poison, bet on it, or don't. I think it's gonna be really, really obvious. Like let's say we go up here, right? Let's say we go up here and like the whole meta intensifies and like corporate buys even more crypto. At some point, that's gonna go vertical, and I think you're gonna see people overextend and companies overextend, and then you can take advantage of it by shorting. Or by maybe there's gonna be an alt season actually if that happens. I don't know. Like alt just kind of been shit in no matter what happens, but maybe like there's gonna be at least either there's gonna be the short side because it's just gonna be way overdone, and all of that is gonna come back down again. So you either have that, or let's say it's bearish and it breaks down, and you have like the few that we already have kind of like with Bitcoin on their balance sheets kind of unwinding, and then you know when to buy, right? Like the moment they get close, not the moment they're finished unwinding their Bitcoin positions, but once they get close, like maybe like once they've done like 60% of the unwinding, I think at that point you can start looking for buys. And those are going to be like cycle buys, right? Like either like cycle shorts or cycle buys. So you have both possibilities if you just don't want to do anything right now. But what you would have to, like in that situation, what you would have to be fine with is just missing a ginormous face ripper to the upside.
Yeah.
Which, like, I think 99% of people wouldn't be. Like people are just like the moment it breaks 110, 115k, people are gonna lose their
start looking at RSI and shit. Like
yeah, and then people try to counter trade it because they didn't buy before. Or they try to long it with high leverage to make up for the gains that they could have made if they longed earlier. Like all that dumb bullshit is what people are gonna do.
Or buy other stuff as a catch-up trade that hasn't broken out yet, and it actually just ends up being weak. We should actually just make a list of ways people fuck up trend forming strength, right? I'm not saying we do it right now, but as an exercise or in a future show, you can let us know in the comments if you find that interesting. We could do it, because I think we've done all of them about 50 times over. Every single time. We've seen it done as well. Like, you know, you use too much leverage, as you mentioned, to catch up. You don't size it enough. You try to short it back to your target. You revenge trade it. You start looking at the wrong time frames. You buy shit that hasn't moved. Like, yeah, there are a million things. But that phenomenon always does take place. Like, between you and me, like, mate to mate, part of me, like, I feel like a bit of a cunt, you know? Because I'm here like, oh, well, this bubble's fucking obvious. Like, the corporate strategy thing, it's like GBTC on steroids. They're just going to hoover up all this BTC and then spit it out later. And that's, you know, even before that, I was like, oh, we need, like, credit creation in order to get a bubble. And this is the most plausible mechanism when it's happening. And this shit is, like, accelerating in my face. And BTC is still going sideways. Like, I should be buying the shit out of this if I truly believe that, no? Like,
I mean, yeah,
like
should.
Irresponsibly, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, this consolidation is going to roll over, and the spot sellers are just not going to be able to keep up with what true FOMO looks like on a global corporate strategy, and we're seeing it in multiple countries now, right? Like in 2021, it was like just Tesla, and then
I mean, the Japanese people are going wild.
Yeah, Japan's going wild. You know, like I think just taking all of that into account, it's like, yeah, you should just believe in something, you know?
I
Like
mean,
Newsy Johnson. Like,
I mean, yeah. There's a
um,
reason why I'm holding even my dog shit still.
yeah,
Like, because I'm like I think this is probably gonna go up, and there's a good chance that if it does, that at least some of that is gonna translate into kind of like an altcoin movement. What I do think right now on the altcoin front, right?
right.
Sorry to interrupt, is kind of like if Bitcoin really does that and kind of that meta gets stronger and stronger, there's a good chance that altcoins just don't move in dollar terms, and it's gonna be fucking awful. Like Bitcoin from 100K to 200K, and you sit in your altcoin, it didn't move, or maybe it goes even down like 5% against the dollar. Like that's fucking awful. And I think there's a possibility for that. I think afterwards you probably have nice gains in the altcoin on the altcoin front, but there's a good chance you're gonna have to sit through pain. Me, I'm just too fucking lazy, so I'm keeping my altcoins, even if they don't move, even if they go down when Bitcoin goes up. Like, oh well.
You're just immune to managing your trades, which is kind of
Yeah,
based.
right now I'm like whatever, doesn't really matter. But generally, I think like active trading wise, it's probably best to just look at Bitcoin right now.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a time, especially if Bitcoin goes up aggressively and the altcoins go down, even in USD terms. Like at that point, you might want to be looking at the best altcoins, because that's usually kind of like where people fully capitulate. So you might be able to snag a deal. But just generally on an active trading base, like it's just very obviously Bitcoin right now. But that can change really quick. Like the altcoin side of things, the moment you have one runner, you're gonna have multiple runners, and then you're gonna have that one runner that started go completely ballistic. So like I'm kind of still expecting that, but there's gonna be a lot of pain, and a lot of these altcoins are not coming back generally. So better have picked wisely if you're trading the altcoins.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin thing seems pretty straightforward to me.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I no disagree. Let's pile into the same trade as the fucking lingerie fighting championship. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason why you'd be aggressively countering it. I mean, I get it,
I mean, what's
but
the evidence against at the? I mean, the evidence against at the moment is that it hasn't gone up, right? Like
yeah,
that's in a nutshell. I think the strongest piece of evidence. Like, hey, look, this meta is accelerating, and these companies are buying a lot and have been buying a lot, but nothing's happened yet. But the thing is, that nothing's happened yet could also apply to the other side, where it hasn't broken down either.
yeah.
So, like, at best, you're left with a null decision. But I think in light of what the fuck equities did and all the headline risk, etc., keeping this summer range was pretty good, all things considered. You know, like 100k acceptance above 100k, I think is a pretty impressive like technical achievement, even when shit goes wrong. So yeah, I think as mentioned, it would have been nice if the TA could give a nudge. Like if the weekly, for example, ate shit and then it started rolling over, I think both of us would be like, dude, maybe we need to like wait before the corporate bubble is allowed to bubble because this thing looks a bit cooked in the short term, right?
Yeah.
But it got fucking eaten up completely. I mean, maybe on the weekend it nukes and the weekly is a piece of shit, and then I'm just completely lost on Monday again. but like, who knows? This is where a lot of this tension's coming from. I think the 50 IQ part of me is like, these companies are retarded, but they have money and they are buying. These old heads are going to run out of coins, and you will also just get... There are only so many old heads selling, but if this meta narrative of just raise debt, buy Bitcoin continues to pick up, they will just like overwhelm them. You know, they're more aggressive and they multiply. Like the virus is spreading and it's literally Pomp at the helm.
Yeah, I mean, there's infinite USD and there's limited Bitcoin, right?
Yes, exactly. You know, just bring out all the maxi talking points. You know, how many millionaires are there? Like, do you remember that old chestnut?
Oh, I mean, it's also hilarious, but also it works so well.
It works so well if you're on the same side of the trade. Yeah. So it's like, it's pick your fighter. Corporate FOMO bubble creation or 2021 DonAlt fractal. You know?
Yeah, I prefer the bubble. I think the
prefer your
bubble would just be
bubble
the bubble would be just hilarious. Like it just makes a lot of sense. It's exactly what I would expect a crypto to do. Like you fucking bubble because a bunch of corporations buy, and then you just take all their money. And this time you don't bankrupt like normal people, but just like a bunch of companies, which also means bankrupting normal people. But at least now there's like a fancy name in front of it.
Yeah, true.
And it's like
Jesus.
that just sounds so crypto to me. Like I mean, we'll see how it plays out in the
Yeah.
end, and maybe I'm like kind of like falling for like a stupid narrative at 110K, and we go back down to like 60. Capo was right, but to me, if nothing changes on the macro side of things, I think the bubble just accelerates.
Okay.
This is bubble behavior. I've seen enough of bubbles in my lifetime, just because I've been in crypto for long enough.
Yeah.
That I just know how these bubbles kind of play, and I'd be shocked if this one didn't. Like the potential is there, and potential in crypto always gets taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Like this would be, to my, like, at least in my framework, the first time it doesn't. Like we had GBTC, which was shit in comparison. We had so many in the last 10 years, and this one is just the cleanest one. Like that's such a clean narrative. Like the companies are gonna buy all the Bitcoin. Just give it to me. Like I want to see it. I just want to see a world in which that bubble comes in, and I think the FOMO would be off the charts, and it'd be so much fun to trade.
And then after that, no one ever buys BTC ever again.
Oh, after that, that'd be the .com kind of thing. Maybe we're down for down only for 10 years. Or
oh fuck! I'm so tired of hearing about your lost decade on this show.
I mean,
you predicted the last 0 out of 10, or like the last 10 out of 0 lost decades.
No, lost decade in crypto is something else.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks of chop.
because at the end of the day, we all know, like everyone knows deep down, that this shit's worth nothing, which is really.
Listen,
but
it's incredibly neutral, censorship resistant, hard money, debasement hedge, sovereign currency, better than digital gold.
It keeps getting, like, with everything that you add, it just sounds more fraudulent. But I mean, I'm on the bull side now, right?
Yes.
So like the fun thing is that the bulls always hate me when I say these things, but also they cannot hate me when I'm bullish, right? Like it just goes against.
Well, at least they can hate your politics. That's very easy to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that's like, who cares at the end of the day?
Yeah. A lot of people actually.
I find it hilarious actually how many people get upset about this.
Some German guy without aircon is like,
I mean, yeah,
making people mad on the internet.
Like why? But it's what it is. But anyway, like give me that bubble. It'd be too funny, and I don't think this ever works out well. This is kind of like the moment where you notice, like, okay, the market is just really fucking dumb,
right?
But also like there's money to be made. Like this smells like money to me, and that's fun. Like that's just like, even like disregarding making money, everything, whatever. It's just the more fun reality to live in. Like the universe splits into like one funny reality and one like not so funny one. And so far, I mean, like it's just like almost always just splits into the absurd funny one. Like that's been the last 10 years or something. So I think we're on that timeline, like of the universe. You just bet on the dumbest, funniest, most ironic
You're
thing
quoting
happening.
your hero Elon here, right? The most entertaining
did he actually say that?
Likely one, yeah.
I mean, fair enough. Like, it's a good point.
You're alive now. I will still try to attempt to tease out some sort of technical truth here.
Yes. I mean, there's one.
What the fuck does it... Is it just like a impulsive all-time high breakout? Is that for you like, okay, vindication, like we cleared 120 and it's just fucking going vertical and more headlines and more news and more market impact, etc. Like, is it price-based? Is it news plus price-based? Is it, or is there some other framework for like validating which side has won, basically?
I think your new all-time high would just send, probably.
Okay. And then so on the other side of it, if it's 2021 fractal enjoyers... rejoice, what does that look like? Presumably it would need to like really fucking crater through the weekly breakout, because as we saw, even slightly closing below it wasn't enough. Are we talking like sub 100k 9K weekly close, like a meaty
Yeah,
one?
if you're aggressive, I think basically you retrace this entire green candle. Like that's really aggressive, but anything sub 100, that'd be the aggressive kind of like,
Okay.
okay, bears have won. The not so aggressive one, and I think the more reasonable one would actually just be losing 90K. But at that point, you've lost a lot of money already.
Yeah,
So
the bottom of the range.
um, yeah, but I like 90K much better. It's just that's another 10% of loss that you would take. So you have to kind of pick your poison.
Yeah.
On the upside, like just generally, I like the monthly on this.
Okay. Yeah.
You go on the monthly, you box out like the 1st of December, that candle,
Yeah.
that small red candle. Anything below there, like a monthly close below there, I think would just start looking awful. That would remind me too much of like the old times in 2021.
Sure.
Just generally like not a good look. But until that happens, I think like I would argue that the Bulls are in control. Like the Bulls are winning right now, in my opinion. Like there's a lot of argument, like it's back and forth. I would argue that the Bulls are winning, and then the Bears have to prove their points, and that would be by kind of reclaiming that, like, or re-losing that monthly level.
Re-losing. Yeah. The Patriots are in control, Don. Cool, man. Like, I mean, ETH is. We spoke so long about like the market. Pretty much, this applies to some extent to ETH. You know, like a
It's the same
BTC
thing,
sense. Yeah. What do you think ETHBTC looks like in that world? Because you mentioned yourself that it's pretty Bitcoin centric, like the narratives and the aggressive buying, etc. What does ETHBTC look like on the breakout and after? Because I think on the breakout it might look like shit, but then on the post breakout pullback, maybe that's when people are like, okay, we're free from purgatory. Time to believe in something, and maybe that something is like ETH as a sort of proxy bet on other altcoins. You know, like just the big liquid shit with an ETF, or just muscle memory. You know, like BTC breakout by ETH. That's an old time.
So good. That was the good time still.
Yeah.
I generally think like Bitcoin breaks out, ETHBTC puts in like a 2% candle to the upside. People get hilariously bullish on ETH. It retraces that entire candle with like 4% ETHBTC down candle. People get liquidated on that small move. Then it's continues bleeding out a little bit, and then it decides whether it actually wants to go or not.
So not the place to be at the point of breakout.
I mean, for the first 2%, like if you get that,
okay.
I mean, that's quite a big move, right? Like when you get like the 110, 120K Bitcoin breakout that goes to like 140, and you get like an extra 2, 3, 4% on ETHBTC on top of all of that.
I mean, sure, yeah.
But I generally think like you get extreme Bitcoin strength, there's a good chance that other stuff loses out in relative terms. Yes. And then once the dust is settled, as you said, I think that there could be a play to be made there. Generally, ETHBTC, as funny as it sounds, has held up the best on the big coin front, right? Like most of the stuff's just been going down in the last few days. ETHBTC is kind of okay still, but also struggling, right? Generally, altcoins just been awful.
Yeah, like, mate, it's been rough.
Awful.
It's been shit. That's why I spent so much time on BTC and talking about other things. And also, you don't really need to speculate on like, oh, well, if BTC breaks out, and then, you know, if I want some alt exposure, how do I pick now which alts I want then? It's like, you don't. You let the market tell you which alts to pick, depending on how they behave on the breakout and on any pullback or consolidation. I think that's best, personally.
Yep.
The headlines that I had were unsurprising. This is a blast from the past. Backed looks to raise $1 billion to fund Bitcoin and digital asset treasury play. Do you fucking remember this company?
Oh man, fucking hell! Every time.
Backed. They were like a complete ghost exchange, weren't they?
Yep.
Yeah, this is like 2018. Yeah, Backed founded in 2018. They just did nothing. Bact's first CEO, Kelly Loeffler, stepped down in 2019 to briefly become a Republican U.S. senator in Georgia under the first Trump administration. So yeah, that's going on. Coinbase stock hits new all-time high, up 40%. This is like alt season type shit.
Oh yeah,
except
yeah.
it's Coinbase, you know.
It's awful, man. Just
Yeah.
give the money into the market so we get it.
We don't get it at all. We're not allowed. Metaplanet buys additional 1,234 Bitcoin for 133 million, surpassing Tesla. And it's like basically the most traded stock in Japan as well.
Yeah.
And Saylor is always, you know, saying
I didn't
nice
even know
things
that
about
was
them.
going to be in the news segment, but I alluded to it earlier.
You did, yeah. And here it is. It's a lot of money. And then the FHFA directs Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to explore cryptocurrency as an asset for mortgages. So that was fun. Also, do you know the agency's director, William Pult, P-U-L-T-E? He was the one doing those fucking scammy Twitter giveaways back in the day. Do you remember?
No way.
Yeah, dude. He was just like allegedly in mind, whatever, fuck you. Like he would just do these like giveaways on Twitter and be like, oh, I'll retweet this and I'll give you like 10 grand. Like that guy's doing mortgages now.
I mean, that's great news, huh?
What a fucking legend.
Dude,
I honestly love this administration so much. It's so funny. Like, it's so funny. Parts of it are deeply disturbing and dystopian, but like the comedy highlight reel moments that you get,
I think
especially
that's
as someone who doesn't have to live there, are pretty great.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest draw. Not gonna lie, like Trump's generally like one positive thing you have to say about him, like whether you love him or hate him, he's just fucking funny.
Dude, he's hilarious.
Like he's so funny. He's not even trying to be.
No,
like, it's
no.
not like he's not trying to, which makes it even funnier,
Yes.
right? Like it's so funny. Like it's entertaining. I mean, he's an entertainer. It's just funny because usually entertainers, you know, they work on their craft. He's just hilarious just because, like, and he doesn't even try, or like I don't know, like it's just.
Oh no, it's natural. It's completely
It's
natural.
natural.
It's like what Elon wishes he had.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
straight up, there's a lot of people on the Republican side that are trying to emulate it and hilariously failing because you cannot emulate this kind of like being funny. I was about to say like this kind of humor, but it's not humor. Like that's like I don't even know what to call it, but it's just hilarious.
I completely agree. Man is made of bangers. That's it, dude. I think that's it. Please bubble this thing because it's fun.
I mean, yeah, just give us the fun.
Yeah.
Like I vote for fun.
Vote for fun. And then, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and we close the eyes to what that would actually mean for the future.
Yeah, fuck the future.
Yeah,
I don't live in the future. I'm alive right now, you know?
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
how you make good life decisions. Cool, man. That's all from us. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Leave a comment and like the video before clicking off. Subscribe. We'd appreciate that too. Thank you for supporting the show as always. Have a wonderful weekend once again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.